Hey guys, so today what I'm going to be talking about is I'm going to be talking about how you can lift weights with scoliosis. I have scoliosis. I've lifted weights for 2 years now, something like that, and it's a major part of my life. I lift weights 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 times a week. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't get enough. But it's obviously not very easy, and I think there's a lot of things you have to take into account when you have scoliosis. Keep in mind, I'm fused from T3 to L2, so my fusion is pretty intense. I had like a 55-degree curve or something. When it comes to weightlifting with scoliosis, you've got to consider who you are and what your problems are. Because for me, as you can see, my shoulder comes forward compared to this shoulder. The shoulder's naturally back. The shoulder comes forward. But I think that's quite interesting, and that's something that I need to take into account. But then I also find that I had quite a weak core, and you need to figure out who you are physically and how that works. If you're unfused, then this may be completely different. See what works for you. Figure it out, because you never know what works. For me, weightlifting makes me feel 100 times better, physically, mentally, emotionally, all that sort of stuff. And I think it just has so many other benefits, and I think it has a lot of benefits for people with scoliosis. And the reason I think I'm qualified, I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice, but the reason I think that I can give this advice compared to anyone else is I don't see many other people fused with scoliosis lifting that much at all. And if they do lift, I don't think many people lift as much as I do, as intensely as I do with scoliosis. And I don't think I'm perfect at it. I think I have a lot of issues still. I still get injured. I still have lots of issues, but I think I do it in a smart way, and I'd like to give that knowledge to you. So yeah, if you like this video, subscribe, etc. I'm going to be posting more videos like this in the future. Mainly I focus on like self-development stuff, etc. I also have a podcast. But basically, when it comes to weightlifting with scoliosis, I think you need to start out every single workout with a warm-up. So I do generally 3 different warm-ups. I'll put one of them up on the screen when I'm talking about it. So first of all, I do this warm-up. It's basically you have your legs raised in the air and you're sort of moving your legs side to side. I'll let you see the workout. And basically in this movement, you want to stay as steady as possible the whole time. You don't want your torso to be rocking back and forth. You want your torso to stay still and your legs are moving. Your core is just stopping your whole body from rocking. And then there's also another variation of this that I think is really, really good to start out because it's really low intensity and it's really good. One of the key things with this one is to, when your legs are like this, as you can see in the video, and you drop one down, you want to keep those legs like that. So if this leg's here, you don't want this, because if this leg's meant to be dropping there, this one's bouncing it out. That's not good. If it's like this and one leg drops, this might quiver a bit, but you want it to stay here. And then your core is that difference compared to that. So your core does that. And I just think that's a really good exercise to start doing core. And then another great one, it's a little harder. It's sort of like a Superman thing. You basically get on all fours, and then you stick your right leg up and your left arm up, or vice versa. So left, right, left, etc. And then you sort of just hold that, and you want to hold that in a strong position. You'll generally, when you have scoliosis, you'll find you have weaker and stronger points, and you've got to figure out what is strong for you and what's weak for you. And then one of the next exercises that I like to do when it comes to warming up and just activating, or even you can load this quite heavy, is doing sort of a chest press, but one arm at a time. High reps, 10, 12, 15 reps, and you're balancing on a Bosu ball, basically forming a glute bridge with your legs. So you want your knees, you want your glutes to be as high as, you want your hips to be as high as possible. Say this is your feet are like this, parallel to the ground, perpendicular to the ground, and your hips are straight. So like that. As you can see in the video, I just lower myself down and I just push the weight up. And when I'm doing this, it's not about the chest. It is a chest movement, but it's not about the chest. It's about staying still. As you can see, I do rock a tiny bit, but you want to generally try and reduce that as much as you can. And then you do the same amount on each arm, try and keep it relatively even. And then this is just a general gym warm-up. What this does is this generally just warms up your shoulder, and there's a tiny little muscle, I don't know what it's called, but basically it's just a good movement because we don't do a lot of that movement, but we do a lot of this movement when bringing it inwards, but we don't do a lot of bringing it outwards. And I find this is just a good shoulder movement to activate and get it moving. And then generally I like to go into my big compounds. So today I'm doing incline press. It's just incline dumbbell press, nothing special there. It's relatively normal, and it's just something that I do. This is just what I wanted to do. So you could do those exact same warm-ups for back day, etc. But what you're trying to warm up is your TFL, I believe, and just your normal rectus abdominis. And when I'm doing this, I don't go ever really, especially if you're new, I wouldn't even go below 8 reps. But personally, I've been lifting for 2-3 years, or two years, and I really don't go under 5 reps. But I do like to go quite heavy because it's fun to go heavy and it feels good to go heavy. So I generally try and go heavy with my compound to start off the workout. Generally, the way you can think of it is warm up, warm up, warm up, another warm up. So there's 4 different warm ups plus the cardio before, but they're not long. You do like 1 set of each, maybe 2 sets of one of them. Like it doesn't take long. You just have to do it. I think it's important. And then I go into my compounds because you got to go into your compounds. Because your compounds are the things that are heavy and the things that matter. And then today I was doing sort of a chest and back day, so I moved into this exercise afterwards. So it's basically where I'm just grabbing the weight, pulling it back. And the reason I like this for people with scoliosis is there's no twisting going on. I really like the unilateral movement, and I think if you're using a bar, it can sort of restrict you a bit, and dumbbells sort of let you move more freely. But yeah, I really do like this movement just because you're lying flat. It's a bit uncomfortable at first, but once you sort of get it down, generally at the top, you want to squeeze, and as you squeeze, you want to bring your back. So I'm lying flat here. I want to raise my chest up because that's quite important when it comes to the contraction. And generally, those are the 2 compound movements that I did that day. And this is quite an old workout, so I can't even remember what I did. I think I might have chucked tricep extensions in here, just really leaning over and just taking it nice and slow. When you have scoliosis, you don't need to be going heavy. You don't need to be going at 1,000 miles an hour. You don't need to be doing deadlifts. You don't need to be doing all these things. You need to be doing what doesn't hurt you or what feels good. There's going to be sort of DOMs the next day, so you're going to have pain in your muscles the next day, and that's just lifting. That's just what it is. And I would generally even recommend you just start with body weight, just doing push-ups, crunches, those ab exercises that I showed you. Just take those to failure, etc. There's lots of things that you can do just to start, because I think when you have scoliosis, the best thing to do is just to start, because if you don't start, then I think you're delaying a point where you kind of have to start in a bad state, when you have to start sort of taking advantage of things. I think exercise helps me. It helped me in so many ways to take control of my life. But like for scoliosis, I think it's so important, whether you're fused or unfused. It doesn't have to be lifting weights. It can be doing yoga. It can be doing Pilates. It can be running. I used to do running, but I found it didn't work with my scoliosis. So you can change. If weightlifting makes you feel shit, if it makes your body feel bad, then don't do it. You've got to pick a sport. You have to pick some sort of exercise that works for you, and you have to do it consistently. There's so many benefits: mental benefits, physical benefits, benefits for your joints, benefits for your scoliosis, benefits for your pain. There's just so many different things. And I implore you to give it a go. I would recommend you try out weightlifting. Start very slow though, especially if you have scoliosis. I would recommend you get a personal trainer to make sure you're not doing anything wrong, because if you're doing things wrong with scoliosis, that can just fuck your shit up. I'm going to be real, because you can really do some damage putting force on the wrong areas by doing exercises wrong. And that is just something you don't really want, right? Something that I generally try to avoid with everything that I do. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram at WonkyWalshami. I generally answer most of the DMs I get on there. I get quite a lot of DMs about scoliosis, because since you're probably seeing this because of my other video on my scoliosis story. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you go and take some action and just don't let yourself deteriorate, because I think it's easy to think, oh, I have scoliosis, I shouldn't lift weights. Oh, I have scoliosis, I need to be careful. You need to be careful to a point, but you need to start taking action while being careful. That's generally what I do. and I'm doing like pretty intense stuff for a normal person. But I think it benefits me more than it could ever be a negative. You just got to do it smart and do it consistently.